Welcome to the Joyful Optimist podcast. You've arrived in a space where joy isn't just a fleeting feeling. It's a way of being, a daily practice, and a game-changing power move. I'm your host, Sandy Casano, and in a world consumed by fear and stuck in survival mode, I'm here to guide you on a radically different path. This podcast is your passport to embark on a journey toward joy. A journey that breaks you free from stress and scarcity and helps you step into the best and highest frequency you can operate from. Joy isn't just a nice to have. It can be transformative. It's a secret to unlocking better mental and physical health, building a resilient mindset, and living a more creative, productive life. It strengthens relationships, especially the one you have with yourself. And it grounds you in a deep, healthy sense of purpose. And here's the truth. Most of us don't know how to prioritize joy. That's why this podcast exists, to help you not just learn about joy, but to live it. This is your invitation to reclaim the joy you deserve, renew your connection to the optimism within you, and rejoice in the life you are intentionally designing. So let's stop waiting for joy. You have permission to break free from old thought patterns, right here, right now. Let's begin. Hey, welcome to the Joyful Optimist podcast. I'm your host, Sandy Casano, and I'm here to help you reclaim your joy, align with your true self, and build a life you love. Now, it's January and the season of resolutions and goal setting. But let me ask you this. What if your goals didn't feel like a chore? What if, instead of feeling like you should achieve something, your goals actually sparked joy? Right? Sounds refreshing. So let's think about this. Today, we're kicking off with a powerful shift. Setting goals rooted in joy and intention rather than fear and obligation. Trust me, it'll change the way you approach everything from your career to your personal life. So let's dive in. First, let's talk about why traditional goal setting often misses the mark. Most of us write goals from a place of fear or pressure. Fear of not being enough, fear of falling behind, fear of disappointing others. We think things like, I should get healthier. I need to hit this target to prove myself. I have to check this box because everyone else is doing it. These kind of goals feel heavy, right? And that's because they come from a space of survival. And the irony is this: we instinctively use fear to protect ourselves, but fear is not a great motivator in the long run. So I want to give you an example, a personal example. So when I first sat down to plan my year, I wrote down the usual suspects. Launch this, lose that, finish those. And it really felt meh, like I was just ticking boxes and really not feeling motivated. So one of my goals was to launch this very podcast, which should sound exciting, right? But the way I wrote it was launch the Joyful Optimist podcast, period. Obligation. Another to-do item. And when I read it back to myself, I could really feel the lack of motivation. And this was something that should be exciting, and yet my heart wasn't in it. I actually noticed myself avoiding it. So I paused and I asked myself, why am I actually doing this podcast? What about it brings me joy? What excites me about this goal? And what opened up from there was so different than Launch the Joyful Optimist podcast. What opened up for me was that I realized I thrive when I am of service to others. I love sharing stories and sharing what I have learned with others. And I love connecting with others, with you. And so creating this podcast is a chance to bring joy into the world in a way that feels meaningful to me and hopefully for you. And there I was able to reframe my goal. It wasn't, I should launch this podcast. It became, I get to create a platform that brings joy and optimism to my audience. That felt so much more aligned to what I want. It is in alignment of my greater goal of creating a joyful, optimistic movement. It felt so much better and so much more motivating. So here's the thing. We're going to talk about the SAGE mindset and the foundation for joyful goals. Before we jump into the framework, there's an important step we can't skip, and I call it getting into SAGE mindset. So in the work of positive intelligence, the SAGE is the part of us that sees possibility, creativity, and joy. It's the exact opposite of when we are in survival mode, which is where fear and obligation live. So I will get into the science behind joy in later episodes, but laying a small bit of the foundation here for you that there is a part of the brain that you want to be in when setting goals, which is your PFC, your prefrontal cortex. And why is this important? It's because your PFC is where you're capable of making executive decisions. It is where you can spark your creativity, where you are most agile in your thinking, versus your survival brain, where your amygdala is, where your main priority and function is to, you probably guessed it, survive, just plainly survive. So getting into your SAGE mindset is really critical when setting goals because it allows your whole self, your mind, your heart, your thoughts, your body, to operate from a place of clarity and creativity. So how do you do it? It could be something deep like a 12-minute meditation, at least 12 minutes. It could be longer. Or something simple like listening to your favorite music, stepping outside for fresh air, or even just taking a moment to express gratitude. For me, drinking my hot water and just focusing on the sensations of this one act. So here is my water bottle. And this one act where the temperature of the water as it enters my body, how the cup feels in my hand, the smoothness, the texture, the sound of my breath between sips. This brings me into SAGE mode. And what's magical is that you can do this throughout your day in the moment without interrupting your schedule. It's this micro break, a micro meditation even. It's small, but it makes a big difference. So once you're in that mindset, your SAGE mindset, you're ready to set goals that come from joy and not fear. So now we're going to go into the reflect, reframe, act framework. So here's the framework that changed the way I started approaching goals. When we begin with reflect, you're going to ask yourself, what brings me joy? What lights me up? Why does this goal matter to me? All right, so those 3 questions. What brings me joy? What lights me up? And why does this goal matter to me? Next, you have the reframe. You take a should goal and rewrite it as a spark joy goal. Instead of focusing on obligation or pressure, emphasize excitement and possibility. And then the third step, act. Identify one small, joyful action you can take today to move toward the goal. The key here is small. Action builds momentum and joy grows as you take steps forward. So here's some examples from my life and how this is working out. So I had a work goal. I wanted to update my website. And literally my goal as I wrote it down was update my website. Not motivating at all. So instead I reflected, why does this matter to me? What about this goal brings me joy? And what came up here was that I want to create a site that is inviting and uplifting, as well as create a safe space for sharing and growth for my audience. And so in my reframe, my goal is I am transforming my website into a joyful, welcoming space for my audience that is safe and inviting. And my act, the third thing that I do every day as I work on my website, is I say this reframe goal every time before I do anything on my website. So I have it on a little postie right in front of me, and I just read it and absorb it. I am transforming my website into a joyful, welcoming space for my audience that is safe and inviting. And then I go into the process of updating my website, and it really puts me in this aligned space where when I'm working, I am much more in a place of joy rather than a place of task orientation. So here's another example. This one probably will sound familiar, but let's take the classic health goal. I need to lose X pounds. I have been saying I need to lose 10 pounds for as long as I can remember, just forever. It's the same goal every year. And guess what? The needle doesn't move. And what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Like, I have come to realize I've been setting this goal for myself and I'm not making a dent in it. And it's it's a chore. It has constantly and it always felt like a joy. A chore, sorry, not a joy. Opposite of joy. So here again, taking the step 1, reflect, asking myself, what about this actually brings me joy? What if I were to achieve my outcome? And even in the process, what about this goal brings me joy? What is exciting for me? And so instead, I asked myself, what would make me feel more alive? What would waken up this goal for me? And it was honestly this understanding, a deeper understanding that I wanted to feel lighter and stronger. I wanted to add years to my life because recently I learned that for every minute of exercise, you can add up to 5 minutes to your lifespan. So instead of setting a goal where I'm losing something, I realize I could set a goal where I'm gaining more life. Um, and yeah, that's a cheat code for more joyful living, right? More life. So in the reframe, I rewrote this goal in a way that lights me up. So instead of lose 10 pounds, I wrote, I get to feel stronger and more alive every day by moving my body joyfully. And the act that I take, the small act that I take every day is that I put my hand on my heart and take 10 breaths and feel 10 heartbeats and express gratitude for the body that I have before every workout, whatever the size, 5 minutes, 30 minutes. This comes into practice. Oh, and then what I do is I also stack on what I get to what, and I stack on this reward. So I get to watch some of my favorite shows only while I'm on the treadmill. So for me, it's Antique Roadshow, Anthony Bourdain's No Reservations, and some Jamie Oliver cooking shows. But for you, it could be totally different. But these small actions matter, right? And joy really builds momentum. So injecting joy into my workout really helps me and motivates me to keep going every day. And the last example I want to share with you is just a personal one because, our lives are multidimensional, right? So we have goals that kind of surround and fulfill our lives in many ways. So my personal goal is that, well, I'm getting married, right? In March. And when you listen to my goal, and this might sound familiar to those of you who have done this before or will be doing this, but I literally wrote, plan my wedding. Ugh, it sounds so dead end, plan my wedding. And so again, I reflect what fills my heart about this. What do I want to feel? And why does this matter? And it recentered me to understand that it's not about planning my wedding. It's about celebrating love with my love in a magical place that's surrounded in beauty, like Hawaii. So in the reframe, my goal is I'm preparing a day filled with love, joy, and beauty to celebrate our story. And so my act, as I activate into my goal, I ask myself the question, does this make me feel in love and in joy when I am doing any part of my planning? And I also created a vision board. So I took some time to create a vision board of what I wanted to experience and see and give me visual cues rather than work off a checklist. All right. So here's the takeaway and challenge for you. So now it's your turn. Here's your challenge. Pick one goal you've written for the year and use the reflect, reframe, act framework. And I'm just going to repeat it here for you with reflect. You're going to ask yourself the questions, what brings me joy about this goal? Why does it matter? Why is this important? And in the reframe, you're going to write it as a spark joy goal versus a should goal. So asking yourself, how can I reframe it to spark excitement within myself? And then in the act, you're going to identify one small joyful step that you can take toward that goal today. What small joyful action can I take today to move closer to my goal? If you want to dive deeper into the process of goal setting, you can come to my website, joyfuloptimist.com, and download my authentically aligned workbook. It will help you identify goals that are more value-based than obligation-based. It's packed with exercises to help you set goals that feel energizing and meaningful to you. And if this episode resonated with you, leave me a comment or question. I'd love to hear from you. I also invite you to join my community at joyfuloptimist.com/community, which is the best way to find me and stay connected. You can also find me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and leave me a comment there. So wherever you are, I hope I am there. And till next time, friends, stay in joy. Thanks so much for being here. Sharing this space with you truly sparks my joy and fills me with deep gratitude and purpose. If today's episode spoke to you, I'm asking you to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who could use a little more joy in their life. Your support helps us spread this message and create ripples of optimism far and wide. I'd love to hear how these insights resonate with you, how they spark ideas, shift your perspective, or inspire action. And if you have questions or want to go deeper, I'm always here to connect. I warmly invite you to join my community, joyfuloptimist.com/community. Together, we can clear this path for more joy, deeper connection, and a life that feels extraordinary and intentional. Until next time, keep choosing joy. It's the most powerful move you can make.